It's Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Elliot Duchon. He's the superintendent for Jurupa Unified School District in Riverside County. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. And sir, I want to speak with you about the recent state budget. As you know, the last few years have been very good for education funding, and the budget that was just passed and signed is providing $14 billion more to K-14, I guess,
correct, right,
than last year. And even last year was better than the year before. Very simply, what do you do with all that money?
You focus on what kids need, and so that comes down to a number of things. One is resources. As you know, they're now called California State Standards.
Sure.
That required a major revamp in terms of what we teach and how we teach. So
this is Common Core.
Common Core,
right?
Yeah, I'm avoiding the the politically incorrect.
Although it's interesting you said, if I can digress, I've had the good fortune of traveling throughout the country and interviewing members of state legislatures in various states, and in some places, Common Core is a dirty word. In California, I've asked so many legislators, school board members, city council members, is it a dirty word here? They're not hearing that.
No, we haven't heard that.
Yeah.
And Common Core really is a good thing. If you look at the standards, we're talking about children learning in depth, persevering, learning problem solving, learning to explain their learning, and without throwing out any of the good things.
So how does having more money, by definition, help you implement Common Core?
So we had a series of textbooks based on a whole set of old standards.
I see.
That were very broad in terms of content and not very deep in terms of knowledge, depth of knowledge. So that requires a major change in teaching. So that the first thing is going to be developing units of study, which we've been doing for 2 years, units of study in math and English language arts, and then really having teachers have the staff development in order to use them. Very much like if you give a doctor a new endoscope, they need to learn how to use it.
Okay, so some of the money goes for training.
Right.
What about class size? Can you use some of that money to decrease class size and therefore hire more teachers?
We have to use the money to decrease class size. The
Because?
target's 24:1.
Okay.
They're now calling it grade span adjustment, just so you have a new acronym to throw on your show.
Okay.
GSA, and we have to reach 24:1 by the target year, which is 2019. We're right down to about 25:1 right now.
Even in high school?
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Kindergarten through 3rd grade.
Okay.
Same as class size reduction.
I remember that.
So the focus on that is not going to be the rest of the grade levels. Our focus on hiring additional staff is going to be support, mental health staff, trainers for teachers, staff to like counselors for high school kids to help fill out FAFSAs.
Sure.
Really support for kids to get them. You know, the mantra right now is career and college ready. To me, that means ready to go to college.
I want to ask you, though, about class size reduction. I get a sense from my discussions up and down the state that elementary school in California, pretty good. High school as well, in good shape. We kind of got that going on. It's the middle schools that really face the greatest challenges. Do you subscribe to that view?
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay.
I think middle school is often seen as this sort of middle ground transition. There was even studies years ago called caught in the middle.
Right.
But I think as long as we focus on a high degree of academic preparation in middle school, we're good.
Okay.
And that's what we're doing.
I want to ask more specifically about your district, which has a large community of color, which has a large community that is on free and reduced lunch.
Right.
How does more money help on that front?
So if you're really going to address the needs of kids from poverty, you're going to talk about things like bringing them up to speed, because the reality is there's an achievement gap.
Right.
Bringing them up to speed and calling it, people use the term level playing field.
Sure.
Well, it's very difficult to get to a level playing field just in school, but it's going to be things like interventions, making sure that children, as they move not only from one grade level but one topic, we would call them units of study, to the other, that they're prepared to move on, that they have interventions to help them.
Many of those in your district that are of color are of Latino descent.
Primarily.
And so are those folks, are they, when they get to school, are they English language learners, or are they gifted with bilingualism?
About a third of our kids are English language learners.
Okay.
And they're very diverse in terms of where they come from.
Okay.
Some are second or third generation. If they're third generation, they're speaking English.
Sure.
Well. When I say English language learners, I'm talking about Spanish is the primary language
Right.
at home, and Spanish is the primary language spoken by the child when they come to school.
At the same time, we've learned that being bilingual is now an advantage once you hit the job market.
Absolutely.
And so what can you do when you consider that we still need to get these kids proficient in English? I mean, that's, it's the language of our country, but not let them lose that second language, which often is Spanish.
So I would say, first of all, we do that. I have yet to meet a graduate of our high schools that doesn't speak English and speak English well. A number of our top 10 kids, 30 to 50% of them, started the district as English language learners.
But have they lost their Spanish? That's
I don't
the question.
think so. So we do a couple of things. Of course, culture of the community
Right.
is embedded in what we teach. We offer programs in dual immersion where we do both English and language instruction. Obviously, the mainstay of cultural training is going to be at home.
Right.
But I don't think the culture's lost.
Let's talk about what the parents want.
Okay.
As you know, as part of the local control funding formula, there is a plan called the Local Control Accountability Plan.
Right.
And that requires, in the best sense, school districts to meet with stakeholders, often including parents. And you were part of the LCAPs, as they're known, throughout Jurupa Unified.
Right.
What did you hear? What did you see? What you
Well,
learned?
first of all, it was a fantastic experience. Starting last year, we had the first year of the LCAP 50 meetings that included
Wow.
parents, teachers, community stakeholders. We continued with that same group this year. I think the resounding message from parents were two things. We want schools to be open and friendly, to provide resources to us, and we want access to the same technology our kids have.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that was the main thing.
That is very interesting. So do you have, I'll just call them iPads or laptops or desktops for the kids?
We're working on it. We're being
Okay.
very cautious about rolling them out.
Sure, there was a
We-
problem at
Oh,
LA
well,
USD.
yeah, a little west
Right,
of us.
right.
We don't want that to happen.
Sure.
So we want to make sure we have support. So
But
we
here's my question. I feel as if my kids are better on technology than I am, or the teachers. So I
Exactly.
feel like the kids are teaching the teachers, no?
Sometimes that's
Right.
true, although we have hired young teachers.
Okay, so
and
they're
they're
okay,
pretty good.
right.
Yeah, there's a...
So is some of this money that you're receiving because of better economic times, can that be spent on technology?
Absolutely. So first of all, we're making sure we have broadband throughout our district that's wide enough
Right.
for a lot of usage. Second of all, we will be rolling out things like iPads, tablets to students, and that ultimately will go home. All of the textbooks available now are available online. And the third part, which comes back to your original
Please.
question, is that we're opening our school libraries to parents. We're putting computers
really?
in the lobbies of
Yeah.
schools. So parents come in, we have library technicians that are being trained in how to train parents.
So how are they accepting the new world where they're being allowed to be part of the community, the education community?
I think they're embracing it. Actually, I'd like to see them embrace it more.
Right.
You know, a lot of parents still think their job's to send their kids to school,
Right.
and they turn to us. But we really want the parents, first of all, to interact with their kids academically at home, meaning talk about what you did at school.
But how do you create that ethos?
You do it slowly but surely with a lot of parent workshops. You talk to parents about talking to their kids.
Right.
My message to parents is talk to your kids. They need words to think. The best gift you can give your kids are words. So,
Words matter.
Words matter.
His
Well,
name-
otherwise we wouldn't be on the show, right?
Clearly. His name is Elliot Duchon. He is the superintendent for Jurupa Unified School District in Riverside County, where we are today. My name is Brad Pomerance. You are watching Local Edition.